Hi guys, today's video is about sobriety. It just so happens that it's January and I know that everybody is doing dry January. It happens to mark my 6 months of sobriety. So I just want to talk a little bit about what got me here and why I decided to get sober. So yeah, let's get right into it. Last July, I was kind of faced with the decision with my life going this way or that way. Just to back it up a little bit, about 10 years ago, I went through a pretty big breakup and I definitely used alcohol as a coping mechanism. I kind of had it a little bit under control, but during the pandemic, I became a private chef. And I'm not sure if a lot of you know kind of what the lifestyle is for a chef, whether it's working in a professional environment or a private environment, but there's a lot of adrenaline involved. So at the end of the day, a lot of people will do anything to kind of wind that down. And, some people will go home at night and do something healthy, like stretch, take a long bath, and others will just do something quick and fast, whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever it is to get that unwind, that's what they'll do. For me, it was alcohol. So, after about 4 years of that, it was getting for me a little bit out of control. And last summer, there was just one weekend, not even when I was working, just one weekend at home, that I just felt like I drank way too much, and it was time to get back to work. I live in New York City and I work on the weekends in the Hamptons. I travel back and forth. And there was just one day where I just could not make it. I did not feel good. I didn't want to go. And I literally called in. It was just for the one day. I was going to go back out I was going to make it out for the Sunday, but I'm a very reliable person and that really ate me up inside. I like to show up for people, whether it's friends, family, clients, that's just who I am. So that day that I called in, I was sitting on my sofa feeling physically and emotionally awful. I kind of had the withdrawal shakes a little bit from drinking too much the night before. And I sat there and I made a promise to myself, I am never going to feel this way ever again. To back it up a little bit, I'd always kind of been a little sober curious, but for me, it was more fear driven. The idea that somebody was saying, you're never going to drink again. You're going to take that away from you. For me, it was the way that I socialized, going out with my friends, having drinks. That's what we did. Especially the older you get, it's like you're not going clubbing. You're not going out all night long. You go out for a few drinks and you're home at 10 o'clock or whatever. So that for me was, my main way to socialize. So for that to go away felt like what's left. Anyway, so, there was a lot of fear in taking that away. And the idea of it going away forever, and also the stigma of you have a problem, you're an alcoholic, et cetera, et cetera. That just did not feel good. It didn't sit well with me. And so leading up to my decision in getting sober, like I said, there was a lot of fear involved. And that journey to making the decision was actually harder than these last 6 months. These last 6 months have been incredible. The journey leading up had actually been torture. It was weight gain, depression, laziness, procrastination. I mean, just doing the smallest things that any normal person would do. Working out, washing your face, brushing your teeth at night. All those little things were so tedious. I mean, it was awful just to think about having to do all those little things, literally that every single normal human being was doing. And also eating right? I would get off of work. Let's say I would get home or be done with work, let's say by like 8:30. I'd go straight to the bar, have a martini, martini and a half, 2 martinis. I'd be drunk. And listen, I'm a happy drunk. I feel good. I'm like fun. I'm loving. It's not like I'd get depressed and be like, oh my God, what's life worth living for? I want to kill myself. There was none of that. It was like, yeah, let's go. I want to have a good time. Anyway, but yeah, I would be drunk and then I would stop on my way home at the Chinese place next door or the burger place next door, and I would overeat. And, also one thing to note when you're a chef as well, you taste food while you're cooking throughout the day, but you don't really like sit down and eat. You don't like take a moment to breathe, to have a meal. You don't take any breaks. You're go, 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 go. So you're essentially like not eating all day long while you're cooking. It's kind of like some weird like eating disorder that chefs have. So at the end of all of it, you're not eating all day. You go straight into drinking, and then you binge eat, for lack of a better word, I guess you would say. And so, your body can't really take in that amount of calories in one sitting and kind of know what to do with it. So it just goes straight into fat production. So when I started as a chef 4.5 years ago, I was about this weight and I just ballooned. I probably gained 30 or 40 pounds. It was out of control. My pants were splitting. I was constantly buying new jeans. I was at the point where I was tired of investing in my weight gain. So the jeans I were buying were like crappy pants from like the Gap outlet, so then I'm wearing clothes that I don't feel good in, and I'm at work not feeling good. Like fat is just like hanging out over my clothes. I literally didn't care. Meanwhile, I'm working for billionaires and they've got billionaire friends, millionaire friends walking through the doors. And here is this fat, sloppy chef, like I'm doing the best I can. Like I'm put together enough. But, and it also must be weird for my clients too, right? Because they see me walk in one thing, and over a 4.5 year period, they slowly see me just getting grosser and grosser and grosser. And, nobody's fat shaming. It's not like they're doing that, but like, it's obvious that there's something wrong, right? If somebody's gaining that much weight over a period of time, there's out of the blue there's something going on. So whatever. So that's not healthy, right? And then I get to the point where I'm thinking to myself, maybe this is just my body, I should really accept it, learn to love myself. But let's be real, it's not healthy, okay? I was not healthy. Love your body at any shape, at any size, definitely, if you're healthy. I was not taking care of myself. There was none of that happening. I had no skincare regimen. My skin is great now. I feel wonderful. Like if you knew the things that I do, we will talk about this more in future videos. I have a whole list of things that I want to discuss with you guys, but we will stick to the sobriety stuff because it actually has been a game changer for me. Like I did say, the hard part was getting up to the point where I made the decision. But once I made the decision, a whole bunch of things have changed. I will not say, I did think that my whole life was going to change overnight. Don't fool yourself, because that is not what's going to happen. Things will change, and it is actually incredible how things will change because you're not numbing yourself anymore. When I stopped numbing myself, my intuition came in. I was sleeping better. My skin looks better. I was taking care of myself. I was nourishing myself. I became a better friend, a better sister, a better everything, a better employee. When I was like cooking, I didn't have to go back to a recipe and be like, how many teaspoons was that? I was just more efficient. I was faster. I was sharper. I looked more alive. I was more engaging with the family I'm cooking for. Just a lot of things changed, and it made me feel better. Just overall, obviously physically I felt better, but it just made me feel better in general. So that is just that's just like the number one reason to like make this decision, right? But one of the things that really, really helped me, especially in the beginning, was a book that I actually, ironically, had downloaded years ago. It's called How to Quit Like a Woman. And yes, it is geared more towards women. The author is Holly Whitaker. I highly recommend the audiobook because she's the one who is reading it, and she's hilarious. And you really just do want to hear it in her voice telling her own story. But it talks about how women are very much targeted in, media and everything. And it's interesting because, I could be sitting at home watching a show, and it could be, 4 o'clock, and I'm not even thinking about, maybe going to the bar and it opening at 5 o'clock or whatever. And I'm watching a show, and all of a sudden someone's having a cocktail, and I'm like, oh, let me go to the bar. I want to have a martini. So it's just so interesting how you're targeted. But it also talks about like the influences of alcohol on your body. And I consider myself a really intelligent person, but I just never realized that alcohol actually is a poison. It is ethanol. So just to think about those kinds of things, it really just opens up your eyes a little bit. But this book, and I'm sure there are so many other books, it's just this one in particular really resonated with me. And I do share this book with a lot of my female friends. I do wish that there was one for men that was very similar. I'm sure it wouldn't be that there was some like so targeted in the same way that women have been targeted. There were laws in the 60s that were changed. Women weren't allowed to smoke cigarettes in public. But then all these companies realized that they were losing out on such a big demographic. So they worked with the government, and they changed those laws. And then they started making these like little skinny cigarettes, so they could have like a little delicate cigarette for women, and they could smoke in public. It's things like that. So yes, highly recommend that one. Really wonderful read. I can't believe that I'd had it for so long in my audiobook library. And yeah, really wonderful. Anyway, so that was like a really, really big one for me that helped so much. And one of the things that she talks about is her own sobriety journey that happened many, many, many years ago. This book is a little bit older. Sobriety wasn't what it is now. It's so, we have all of these like mocktails at every restaurant. There are so many non-alcoholic spirits available. When she was going through this, her friends would put bottles of wine up to her nose, smell this, and they would completely disown her. Now, it's so easy for us to be out in society and have this experience, right? And I remember thinking, okay, so I do have all of these social experiences with my friends where we go out drinking, right? If somebody wants to have a martini or go out for a drink or whatever, they're like, hey, Leanna, let's go out. So I was worried. And after I got sober, I realized that it wasn't my friends that were the problem. It was me. I was the one that was doing all of the drinking with my friends. Because when we would go out, even if I wasn't drinking, they'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe like I'll have one or whatever. Nobody was like binge drinking. It was always me. So I got really lucky in the respect that I didn't have people around me who were going to make this very difficult for me. Having said that, and again, this is not an advice thing, but if you have people around you who are making this hard for you, I mean, I don't know, but it's kind of obvious. Like, I don't know, choose your friends. But I will say this. Worry about yourself, stay in your own lane, clean up your side of the street, and you'd be surprised how many people you inspire. Because I've had a few people who have made some changes in their life, because I'm not gonna say that maybe I inspired them, but just them hearing what I've been through, they're like, oh, okay, maybe I should make a few changes just to see like how that could affect certain things in my life. And it's really actually beautiful and touching and humbling to see how it's helped them. So yeah, that's been like really, really special to me to see how that's helped people. Anyway, I do want to end this on one really fun note. The one thing that people don't think about when you're sober is that you get to drink in the middle of the day. So today, we're gonna make one of my favorite mocktails. I'm a gin drinker, so we're gonna make one of my favorite mocktails, and that is a gin and tonic. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show which brand this is, but it is a non-alcoholic spirit, and I really like it, and it's kind of available everywhere. It's pretty popular. Here's my little jigger. What I realized is, and this is very important, it's really nice to come home at the end of the day and make a special drink while you're making dinner. And you kind of make it into a ritual. And it's just a nice way to decompress. And, you know, I will say sometimes I do kind of miss like getting a little bit tipsy and having a really good time and feeling a little bit buzzed and kind of goofing off and laughing with my friends. You know, I also realized too that, you know, I thought that I was really connecting with my friends over those drinks, but I'm having better, more valuable conversations with my friends now over mocktails and being more sober than I was when I was drinking. And has also become very important to me. And what I've also realized is I just actually like having a drink in my hand. It's not about getting drunk. It's just about being in a social environment. And, you know, I've been to house parties where people are drinking, and I bring my own non-alcoholic spirits if people don't supply them, and I don't count on them to. It's not their thing. It's my thing, and nobody is none the wiser that I'm drinking something non-alcoholic, and it doesn't need to be a big conversation. It looks like I'm having a gin and tonic. Nobody needs to know. It's my thing. And you know what? I always thought I would be like, oh God, you're so sloppy, or oh, I'm so jealous that you're having a drink. And I'm not. It actually has become, it's amazing. And sometimes, maybe it's a little psychosomatic, but sometimes I actually think that I'm feeling a little bit buzzed. I don't know what it is. It's really nice. And sometimes I actually, in my dreams, I'll have like a moment where I'll get like a little drunk in my dreams, and I'll be like, damn it, Leanna, you're not sober anymore. Like, how could you forget that you were sober? And I wake up and I'm like, oh, thank God that was a dream. So anyway, cheers. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that somehow, some way this inspired you. And I don't know, good luck. Thanks for being here.